Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the IFCA Journal Podcast. I'm your host, PJ Hedgerton. I would like to thank someone that is very special in my life, a wonderful husband and a father of three. He's great in my eyes. He's a good man, a leader. He's got a pedigree from Iowa. I don't know if like I said, I can talk about him forever and ever. He means a lot to me. We're with Mike Morrissey, who's the head football coach of Molina. His bio, he's had, oh my God, several key stops. And we were just joking around before our podcast started about his Illinois, Iowa, Arizona, and then back to Illinois. So he's had some wonderful stops. So one of the things I love is he's got this is my kind of nerding out here on this podcast, is he got to coach Kurt Warner's son in Arizona for 1 year. He's got to do that. So that was kind of a cool, I was excited for him, probably more excited for him than he probably was, but he's got to do that. He's been kicking butt in Moline. 6-time coach of the year, 2-time regional coach of the year, 13 playoff appearances. He is a proud alum of Pleasant Valley. I call him the son of Ed. Ed Morrissey, legendary Hall of Fame Iowa high school coach. If you don't know Ed, you are missing out. Is probably one of the coolest in the state. So he's one of the good guys. So my special guest, Mike Morrissey. What's up, dude?
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Man, you know what? I tell you what, I'm excited because I get to talk some little wing T football, and RPO game and all those things with you. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I was hoping at some point, because I have some answers already kind of tucked away for, like, hey, who gave you the worst haircut that you've ever had? Or maybe like, hey, hey, what? How influential was your freshman year in college? How influential was that RA that you had down the hallway? I had some really good answers for that. But if we don't get to that till later, then it's okay. It's not a big deal.
No, we will probably not discuss those conversations over the podcast.
Okay, fair enough. Another time then for sure.
Yeah. So again, many coaches, Mike Morrissey he's a special guy. I would say out of a lot of the guys that I've got to talk to offensively, Mike, you're probably one of the guys that even I think I've called you a couple times in the past about the passing game and about using wing T and stuff like that. So coaches, I'm serious. At the end of this podcast, I'll have his information on the descriptions. I'm telling you now, I'd reach out. He does a great job with his offense. He's really special when it comes to that. All right, Mike, let's get into this, man.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, what's your coaching philosophy?
So, I mean, we go by the same philosophy that my dad had. That's the total effort philosophy, and that really stems from giving everything you have and everything you do, and in that winner type of mentality. And that was something that he had at PV, and he started at Pleasant Valley, and it's still there at Pleasant Valley. And we use it here at Moline. And again, it touches in every aspect of these kids' lives. So that's kind of the important thing. But, for us as coaches, it's trying to put our kids in the best position to be successful, and that's kind of how we fell into the wing T, to be honest with you, was that we needed to put our kids in a position to be successful and compete against some of the bigger schools in the suburbs. So philosophically, that's kind of what we hang our head on. We hang our head on total effort and trying to find different ways schematically to help our kids be successful on the field so that they have a great experience within our program. That's always a big thing. And we've enjoyed it, and it's expanded, and it always, depends on what we have coming through. That's the fun part about being a high school football coach, is that you get to adjust your system year to year based around the personnel that comes in, because you don't get to pick and choose who comes in. We don't have open enrollment in Illinois. Like, we get what we get, and our kids are awesome, and they're blue collar, and they're tough, and they like to get after it, and they like to run the ball. And when we have a quarterback that can sling it a little bit, then we adjust to that too. So, that's kind of what we do. Obviously, we train hard in the off season, do all those little things, but it all falls back to that total effort mentality.
Okay, so here we go. How do you get buy-in from your coaches?
That's a great question, because when we switched to the wing T, I think the only two on staff that really wanted to do it was my dad and myself. And that's really what was his background. So these guys, we just came off like a 7-3 season where we had some success my first year there, and made the playoffs and won the conference and all that kind of stuff. And I basically just told them, like, we're going to change everything, and we're going to go this route. And this is what we're going to do. And I don't think anybody wanted to do it. I think everybody was a little bit
those are hard
skeptical.
conversations. Those are hard
They
conversations.
are, and it's tough. But honestly, like, there's been enough trust, and there's been, enough of a relationship built between our coaches and myself and our kids, that we all understand each other, and we all understand it's about the kids, and it's about their experience and being successful. And we had a bunch of really good running backs coming through. We had a bunch of linemen that were like 5'10", 200, 210 pounds, something like that, so they weren't the biggest kids in the world. We knew we couldn't, sit there and live in a spread world and try to be competitive with the kids we had coming through. So, it was an important decision. It's a decision that's obviously been good for us, long term. But I think the relationship that you have with coaches and the trust that you have in each other, you have to do that through actions. You can't say you're going to do something and then not follow through. You can't have these grand plans and then you're not putting the work in for it. So the lead by example mentality is definitely something that I got from my dad, and that's something that I try to do. I want to be the first person in the weight room. I want to be the first person out at practice. I want to be the first person at the team dinner or whatever it may be, so that they know, like, hey, I'm there and I'm not afraid to pick up and do the things that, are looked at as kind of medial tasks. Like, you have to do those things. There's no task too big or too small for anybody. So I think leading by example that way is kind of how I build trust with our coaches. And then communication, man. We like they're allowed to have a voice, and I trust what they say. And at the end of the day, I get the final say. That's part of the responsibility that I hold, but I value their opinions and I trust their opinions, and I lean on it all the time. And that's how we build that camaraderie.
Okay. What about buy-in from your community?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of things. We've had our kids do a lot of community service. Like, they'll go work at Hy-Vee, and I'm not kidding, man. Like, they'll work at Hy-Vee, they'll do the bags. So they'll be at the checkout counter bagging people's groceries and just talking about Moline football. They'll have their Moline football gear on. We did a cleanup at the Moline Police Department. Obviously, we run our youth camps and our middle school camps and stuff like that in the spring and the summer. So, like, our kids work all of those things. And then our youth program, our director of our youth program does a great job of putting signs up pretty much all over town about Moline football, about total effort, about those types of things. And then just being out, being visible, going to basketball games, going to softball games, going to baseball games, like doing those types of things. Volleyball, my daughter plays volleyball, so it's, I get to those games. But those are things that you just do, and you interact with the people that are important to the school and the community and things like that. And then, just spending time with people. I mean, I think that goes a long way. But again, building relationships. That's pretty much what it all comes
Yeah.
back to.
Okay. Now, again, you answered that form of a question. That was great. Absolutely amazing. What if I'm a young coach, I'm in a community that is so used to the spread offense, and I
Sure.
come in, and we've been through this. You and I have both been through this kind of situation, spread situation, and all of a sudden you come in and and in my case, it was double wing, in your case, it's wing
Yeah.
T,
Yeah.
and you're bringing something in. Yeah, and you know your philosophy, so you know in your heart what you're going to do, but your community is kind of like, I'd rather throw the ball 100 times and just watch Johnny hit a touchdown. How do you build that in your community?
So, I mean, we still hear things. You still hear things about throwing the
Oh,
ball,
yeah,
for sure.
always, always.
And here's the truth, man. Like, and this is not a knock on anybody previously, but like, when I first got to Moline High School, they'd won 3 playoff games all time, ever. Like, since 1974, they'd won 3 playoff games. We've won 6. You know what I mean? So, like, we've won 6 since 2017. We've had success, and we've had postseason success, and that's obviously a tremendous credit to our kids and our coaches and our administration, the people that have, supported us, for sure. But the reality is, when you have those conversations about changing an offense or changing a defense, it's all about what puts the kids in the best position to be successful, and that's it. And I think there's a lot of teams out there that, if they ran something a little bit different, that would be more catered to their kids and their personnel, they have a little bit more of success. But you can't be afraid to do those things. You can't. I mean, initially we threw the ball all over the place at Cedar Rapids Prairie, all over the place. Like,
Man,
that,
woo.
we were straight spread. Like, I mean, I was like the Chip Kelly's the dude, all those things. Like, let's do it.
I remember that.
But we had good kids that could do it. We had a good
Yeah.
quarterback, we had a couple of good quarterbacks. We had a bunch of good receivers. Like, we had the personnel that could do it. So we did it. And then went down to Arizona. Again, we're throwing the ball all over the place. But when I got back here, you could see that wasn't our personnel. That wasn't what it was. So for me as a coach to do right by our kids, I had to put time into learning something different, and I did play in a wing T system for my dad at Pleasant Valley. So there was still some familiarity with that, but, we had to do a pretty deep dive into things and find out, how are we going to help our kids, and what is it going to take to put them in a position to be successful. And sometimes people in the community don't see that. They don't see that piece. But on Friday nights, when our kids are successful and they're celebrating it, and our kids don't care at this point. They don't. We're a 7A football program in Illinois. They don't care what we run. They just want to be successful. They want to, they're proud to be a part of our program and be a part of something bigger than themselves, I guess, in a way. And so they don't flinch. They don't flinch at it at all. And even though you do hear about throwing the ball a little bit more, we don't sweat it, man. Like, as long as we can sustain some success doing this stuff, we'll keep doing it, and we'll adjust the little things, year to year as we go.
Hey, we both know as coaches, it doesn't matter what you run. Winning is winning,
Yeah,
and it's hard
amen,
and it's hard to
amen.
win sometimes.
It is,
Winning
it
winning
is.
is winning is winning, and you when you're in
Yes,
the when you wanna kick butt, it doesn't matter
that's it.
what you're doing. So,
That's it for sure.
alright, how do you stay true to your philosophy every year, okay?
Okay. Are you talking about offensively and defensively, like schematically?
Just offensively right now. That's
Yeah.
all I want from you, only offense. I don't want
So
defense.
the cool part, yeah, good. That then we're doing this thing right. The cool part about what about our system and like the terminology and the system that we've put together is that it doesn't change. Like whether we jump into some of our spread sets or whether we are straight, our under center wing T stuff, like we have a base set of run plays that we put in at the beginning of every summer. That's not going to change. It's always going to be the same. Those run plays are the same whether we're in shotgun or whether we're under center. And that's kind of the cool part for those guys up front is that stays the same. Like we run trap, we run sweep, right? Those are paired together. We'll run down, we'll run wing counter. Those two are paired together. We'll run our lead, what we call belly, and then like a tackle trap off of that. Those are our basic plays. Like that's our base system. And then we'll do some auxiliary stuff with a quick toss and and a dive or some things like that. Like we'll put some auxiliary plays in for sure based on our personnel. Like we put in midline one year because we had a really good athletic quarterback. But like our base 6 run plays, 7 run plays don't change. Like we start with those. It always stays the same. It doesn't change a whole lot when we get into shotgun. We still kind of run the same basic plays. And then we build off of that. So like our formations, our motions, our shifts, everything is built off of that stuff. And then we can adjust based on personnel. So we did jump in shotgun a little bit more this last fall. We'll probably jump in shotgun even more next fall. But what we run is what we run, and that stuff up front stays the same. We can add some reads to it. We can add some RPOs to it. That's the fun part about it. But our base philosophy is still pretty much wing T, whether we're under center or in shotgun.
Okay, and I'm taking notes as you talk. I'm learning, so I just
Yeah, all good.
appreciate you. How much buck sweep do you run?
Oh, we run a ton. We run a ton of it, and We'll run it strong side. We'll run it back to the weak side. We'll run quarterback sweep at times. In shotgun, we run it a lot. We do it. Yeah, it's a big staple of our offense.
Okay, are you incorporating any of the new pin and pull stuff that the colleges are using? Any of that stuff in or no?
We have not. We've run some GT. We've done some other things like that, but we basically stay true to what we do. Like we won't pull our center. We just don't. Like his rules stay the same pretty much on everything, and that keeps it simple for him after he IDs the front and things like that. But yeah, we don't get overly complicated. We don't.
Okay, good. So I'm a new coach, and I want to install the wing tee. What's my progression? What's my step? What's the first run play, first pass play, first situation? Take me through
Yeah.
each step of how you install
Yeah, so
this
so
offense.
basically we and I present at the Glazier clinics on this stuff all the time. Like this is a part of what that starts with. So really everything starts in the huddle. Like when we start in the summer with our freshmen or even our older guys, we start with just calling formations and breaking the huddle. So we start with formations. We always go formations and then we'll work into shifts, motions off of those formations. And then we start going with plays. And our play progression is pretty much like our install day one. Like we'll go trap and sweep and then run our bootleg off of that because it's all the similar backfield action. You know what I mean? So it keeps things the same up front. It keeps things the same in the backfield. Where our trap, sweep, and bootleg look the exact same with our backfield movements, and then who we're pulling, obviously, for influence pulling on our trap, then it looks just like sweep. If we're not, then it's trap. But the backfield motion is or backfield action is still sweep. So that's what we start with. So we start with that. We get really good at those things. And then we progress to our lead and our belly. Our lead, belly, and tackle trap is really what it comes to next. We'll run our lead pass off of that. So that would be our next step with our install. And then we go our down, our wing counter, and then we run our down pass off of that. So like that's the base system. Then we'll put in what we call rumble. Everybody calls it counter crisscross. We'll put that in as an auxiliary. We'll motion. We'll put our quick toss in off of that as well. And then anything that we feel like our kids can do well. But we have a very specific way of doing things, and I think Butch Gottroff is a big influence on how we install and the progression of our install. And really, again, we start with the huddle. Like you might think I'm crazy and I'm overdoing this stuff, but if our guys don't break the huddle right, whether it's day one or whether it's day 75 of our season, they huddle back up. And they always redo it. And they have to break the huddle with a purpose. They have to get to the line quickly. They have to check their feet, check their alignment, make their calls, and get ready to run the play. So we teach that before we do anything else. And our shifts and motions are awesome. We've got a lot of different things that we do with that. And that obviously comes into play as well at some point.
Okay. Well, it goes back to little things, right? You know what I mean? Like if
Correct.
you're not
Yes.
if you're letting little things slide, it's going to cost
That's
you
it,
one of these
man.
games.
And that is it. That's precisely it. Yes.
It is. All right. So, y- you were talking about how you blend in some of your spread concept with the wing tee. Explain some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've expanded a little bit and we've jumped into we do have a good quarterback. He's a sophomore quarterback. He's a really talented kid. So he'll be a 3-year starter for us. And his skill set is different than a lot of what we've had. So we jumped into some spread sets, we added some RPOs, we adjusted kind of our terminology and our system to be able to fit that. And but our run game has stayed the same. Like for example, we'll get into like a trips right off formation, we call it trips right off, and we'll run trap, or maybe we'll go trips right off Z orbit and we'll go trap with a bubble, or we'll go trips right orbit, or trips right off Z orbit and we'll go 22 trapper, and tag the ER onto trap, and that's an end read. So it's just like a zone read, but we're still running our gap seam stuff behind it. So we've
Nasty.
done that
Yeah.
with pretty much all of our run plays, all of them. And then our RPO stuff, I think, is really unique, and it's something different. We tag, we'll tag like Adam to an outside receiver, bubble to a middle receiver, number 2 receiver, and then cruise to our number 3 receiver. And depending on our formation, I mean, it could go to any which guy, like depending on motions and formations and shifting and things that we do. Like we have a ton of guys that can touch the ball in any given play. And I think that's what's made this system a little bit more unique than most, and definitely ones that we've put together in the past, or run in the past. So it's seamless. I mean, it's just personnel grouping that changes things, from wing tee to your spread stuff. And our kids love it. They bought into it. They understand it because it's really not overly complicated, but it just looks that way because there's, you're presenting the same play a dozen different ways, and that's what causes confusion for the defense.
Okay. That's good. You went right into my next question. Okay. Your RPO game off of belly. Take us through that step by
Yeah.
step. Give me 1 or 2 plays off of your belly that you use, that you're reading keys, all those things.
Yeah. So I actually,
And who are you reading? I guess I want to know. We want to know,
so
who are
our
you
belly
reading?
play, I'll be honest, our belly play, we don't do much off of the RPO stuff with that. Like we'll run trap, we'll run sweep, we'll run our lead, which is basically an ISO play. We'll run GT, and then we'll run like our jet off that stuff. And like that's what we basically live off of with our
Okay.
spread run game. But then
Okay.
what we'll do is like we'll read the backside end. I mean, it's always the backside end for us. Like that's who we're gonna read. So if we run sweep, it's gonna be the backside end. Or if we go like sweep lock, we'll call sweep lock. That just means the backside tackle is gonna lock onto the end, and now we're gonna RPO read an inside linebacker or an outside linebacker, one of those things. So like we have, I mean, it's simple, but it's there's a lot to it. We'll run our trap pop and read a backer. If he's flowing, we're gonna replace him. Like if he sees our guard pull and he wants to chase, we're going to replace him with a wing or a tight end or a slant or something like that behind it, to where we can get an easy throw. And then everybody's got their perimeter screens, their perimeter RPO stuff. Everybody does, where you're throwing your now screens, you're throwing your bubble screens. We call it like our cruise. A lot of the times when we'll go like a trips off formation, we'll have like an H back there. I mean, he's running basically like an arrow, and that's our cruise. He's number 3, so we're throwing the cruise to him based off of GT or off of sweep or off of trap or whatever it may be. So that's kind of where we're at, and that's kind of what our system has progressed to. But I mean, man, we run a lot of stuff, man. It looks like a lot of stuff, but the plays stay the same. But like formationally, I mean, we can do a lot of different things and give a lot of different presentations. And I mean, whether we're in trips, like trips off, trips open, doubles off, doubles open, split, like those things. I mean, there's a million
Wow.
formations that you can run, and we do a lot of them. That's our spread stuff. And then obviously
Well,
we get
well,
under
how do you get
center.
the kids I guess I'm sorry to interrupt, but how do you get the
No,
kids to learn all that? What's your
so they
steps and
just,
your
I mean,
step?
so here's kind of a quick rundown. So we're in our wing tee, right? And we have our halfback, our fullback, and then what we call a Z is like our wing. When we jump into spread, our Z goes to Z. Our fullback, who's an F, goes to F. He goes to that middle receiver or that off receiver. Our Y, he's our tight end. He'll go to that off, or he'll still be attached, or maybe be split out. And then
Slot.
our
Yep.
X is our X. You know what I mean? He stays there. So like we were lucky this year personnel wise, we could jump into our spread stuff, keeping our wing T personnel in there.
Mm.
And like how we break down our personnel is a little bit different. Like our fullback is our best runner. He's not necessarily that old school, like banging, big, thick fullback. Kid this year's was probably 5'7", 155 pounds,
Ooh.
but he's lightning fast. I mean, he's the
Wow.
fastest kid on the field every time he's out there. So, that's where our best runner goes. Our second best runner and a good blocker goes to our halfback position. Game breaker goes to Z. Like, he's a guy that we're going to give to our belly and on toss and do those things to try to get the ball on the perimeter and see him go. Our X is our best receiver, but a willing blocker. And then our tight end is an athletic kid, but also has to be willing to be physical. Like, we were able to jump into our spread stuff with that personnel and take our fullback and put him at F. So he played some slot. He actually played some
Wow.
Z
Yeah.
as well and did some things. So we were able to do that because those kids were very versatile. So, we would be in our under center wing T stuff, and then the next play we jump into a spread set, but still run the same stuff schematically, just given different presentations of it.
Okay. All right. I want to run the wing T, and most
Yeah.
times a small high school setting. Okay. I'm a coach in the community. I'm just coming into the new community, and I don't necessarily have a quarterback, but I've got 3 or
Yeah.
4 running backs. Okay. What's your suggestion to me on how to handle that? But I want to run the wing T because I
I
got
mean,
enough.
I
I got
think
a lot of backs.
from personnel standpoint, you can't beat it. But I think you break it down that way. Like, you have to have a specific style of wing T that you're going to go into. Like, when we did our study to jump into wing T stuff, like, obviously my dad was a huge influence on that, but Butch Gontroff at Bellevue High School was the first guy I reached out to. And I talked to him and I learned from him. I liked what they did with theirs. I liked how how they aligned. I liked their formations that they use. I liked some of the unbalanced stuff that they use. I loved the shifting and I loved the motion and stuff like that. And obviously it's a misdirection offense. So, you're building this thing off misdirection, but then breaking down the personnel, which is kind of what I just talked about. Like, you want to know where your guys have to fit, and if you have a quarterback who's not a great thrower necessarily, that's okay. That's definitely okay. Like, we had a kid that had Tommy John surgery as an 8th grader, played quarterback for us in 2022, and he is clinic film on how to do it, like on how he rides his fakes, on how
Mm.
deceptive he is with the ball. He still threw for over 1,000 yards, and he was not a great. I mean, now he's playing defensive back at Pitt State, so he's obviously a good athlete. But he was 5'10", 175 pounds, 570 pounds, but he ran the wing T to perfection. Like, if you look it up and you watch our film from 2022, you watch him with the ball and his ball handling and following his hands in his eyes and overextending the rides, and doing those things on the reads and carrying out his fakes, 10, 15 yards downfield. Like, he is what it's about, but you got to be disciplined. Like, you have to have great get off with your offensive line. Like you can't sweat like a whole bunch of double teams. I'm not a huge double team guy when it comes to the wing T, which is probably different than some, but we preach get offs. We preach a sprinter stance. So it's a little bit different. Like, it's more like the De La Salle, Bellevue style. And then, fakes, man, they got to be disciplined. Like, a good fake is worth 2 blocks. So if your guys are willing to run and play without the ball, you're going to have some success, but you got to start with that stuff. Like, it has to be the details. It has to be making sure the alignment is correct at every position. Your splits are correct at every position. Your calls are correct up front, so the guys know exactly what their job is. The discipline of stepping with the correct foot, like, all those things, we don't move past. Like, we sit there and we'll run the same play for 3 days if that's what it takes.
Mm.
And the philosophy is, like, you don't run it till you have it down. You run it till you can't get it wrong. That's the
Right.
old
Yep.
Butch Gontroff philosophy. Like, that's it. Like, you run this until you can't get this wrong. No matter what front you see, your guys are going to get it. And to be patient with it. Don't get in a hurry of throwing, grab bagging a bunch of plays. Have a system. Know what you're going in. Know how you can tie those plays together so they look similar. But at the same time, that's where the misdirection comes into play. And I think it's a great offense. Obviously, I'm very biased because we've been running it for the last 9 years here. But I think it can fit any personnel. And then if you decide that you want to get into some spread stuff, like, it still fits the personnel. And you can still run some of the misdirection and things like that with some motions and things like that from the backfield. So I would say, if you're going to run this, just have a plan on what you're going in with. Study it, make sure you know how you want to present it to your kids so there's no confusion. And then make sure your staff is obviously understanding what you want out of them, fundamentally speaking, at every position, so that, when your team is making strides, it's going the right direction instead of having to restart and do things over again, from something that's just not done fundamentally sound.
All right. I got about 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Okay. And you went right into my other question, which was blocking up front. And again,
Yeah.
as a double wing guy, double teams are that's bread and butter.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So And if coaches you don't understand, double wing came again. This is like the cousin or twin sister or whatever you want to call her of the wing T. So that's kind
Yeah.
of and single wing.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's very
It's a
similar.
great offense. It's a great
Yes.
offense.
Yeah. So what's your blocking philosophy?
Yeah, so we shoulder block, and we teach shoulder blocking, and our guys in the summertime, like we have a 6-man sled, and we push that sled and drive that sled up and down the field, man, all day long, every summer. And really, it comes from the get off. It comes from the feet. Like my dad has from a terminology standpoint, it's chest and knee with that first step, 6-inch step, whichever direction you're going. Second step is an 18-inch step, trying to get that second foot in the ground before the defender can get their second foot in the ground.
Mhm.
And then having a low pad level. So it's all flat back stuff. It's all flat back. So like when we hit the sled, like we put tape on the sled and make sure they hit it under the tape. Like this is our aiming point. Like we're trying to get into guys' hips, moving them here. So we tell them to aim for the thigh pad when they go to block somebody, knowing that they're going to be a little bit higher than what the thighs are. And that's just the way it goes. But that's our aiming point. And those guys are going a 6-inch step, an 18-inch step, and then just trying to get off low and as fast as possible. But we do teach shoulder blocking to start with, and then eventually, inevitably these guys start using their hands a little bit, and we don't get too crazy about it. But we start with the shoulder block because we want them to get off the ball. We want them not to be afraid of making that contact with their pads. And again, that's just a wing T philosophy type thing. And not that there's anything wrong with double teams. Okay. My dad is a huge double team guy. He wants to double team everything. I get it, but I'm like, you know what? If we can get off low and we can get off fast and we can get into those guys at the right aiming point, by a second and a half, 2 seconds, our guys should be well past that, well past the hole we should be on. And obviously, we've been very fortunate to have some success with some of our backs and some of our linemen. My dad still coaches offensive line for us, so I mean, he's our guy. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't argue a lot of the things he says, but
Well, you better not
that's
argue with Ed.
no, I
Yeah.
don't. I don't. The philosophy, and that's what we've built off of, and so that's how we teach our guys up front.
Good. Good, 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 good. Okay. Let's say again, I'm keeping this fresh for some of our younger or newer coaches. Okay, I'm going in. I'm excited about the wing T, and I've got an offensive line coach who has only been in the spread. Okay, blocking is totally different. So he's been in the zone blocking the spread, and now I want him to come in and learn this. What is the first thing that you think I should do with that
I
coach?
mean, you got to give him resources, and you have to give him things to study. Like if he's a guy that you want to keep around, and he's a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes to help the kids be successful, then
Correct.
he'll put the
Yep.
time and effort into it. There's
Right. Yep.
there's a million different resources and a million different people that you could reach out to. Like we have a structured offensive line practice plan every day. And like it's the same stuff every day. And they do it over and over and over again because those are the everyday drills that pertain to what we're trying to accomplish. So I mean I would try to put together a basic plan from a start standpoint, drills, terminology and fundamental stuff that you're talking about at the varsity level so that they can be talking about it at the freshman level and the JV level and your youth level. So there's a vertical alignment with what you're trying to accomplish pretty much at every position.
Okay.
But I
All
think
right.
that's the big thing. And as an O-line coach, like you could jump on YouTube right now, look up Bellevue football offensive line, and there's at least 2 videos on there that shows the way those guys get off the ball and how they do things. And that's what we started with. I mean, we spent a lot of time with Butch. Obviously, the way my dad taught and coached the offensive line at Pleasant Valley, and then here is pretty much the same way. So our
Mhm.
kids know, if I walk down to the freshman practice field, I'll hear our offensive line talk about the same things. He'll be talking chest and knee. He'll be talking 6-inch step. He'll be talking like, hey, bring your feet in. Your stance is too wide. Or,
Mhm.
flat back, aiming points, all those little things. Like everything is repetitive. So there's, it's the same. And the kids are learning it from an early age and they're continuing to kind of progress physically and mentally. And so they get used to it and it just becomes muscle memory. But and then they're hitting the sled every day. I mean, that's just the truth. Like we do it in season. It's Monday and Tuesday, but preseason and in summertime, I mean, it's every day. Like they're hitting this thing every day, and there's a very specific way that they have to do it, and
Mhm.
we stick to that. Otherwise, they huddle up and they go again. So
Okay.
That's kind of the way it works. And be detail oriented, man. If you're an offensive line coach, you got to be really detail oriented with your kids if you're going to get them to buy into whatever you're doing. And then be a teacher. They have to understand what their job is. We flip our offensive line, and we did that initially to kind of cut down the learning
Wow.
curve because we ran a certain plays to the strong side, certain plays to the quick side. But now that we've been in the system so long, everything is interchangeable. So we still flip. We still flip just just because we do, but
Wow.
we don't have to necessarily. So
Are you
little
quick
things
huddle?
like that, man.
Are you
No. So we take our time. Like we'll come up if we're under center, if there's no motion, we're pretty much running on one every time. If there's motion, we go on three. Everybody knows it. It's not like
wow.
it's not like it's a yeah, so it's not like it's a secret. Motion, it's on three. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll go first down. Like our quarterback did a good job this year of going on first down quite a bit, but everybody knows what we do, man. And it's not, we've been doing it for a long time. So we just got to be better at it than whatever they've worked on in the 3 days defensively to prepare for us. And hopefully our execution is better. And fortunately with our kids, a lot of the times it has been.
Okay. How many different fronts do you see? I mean, that was always my
Everything.
thing. Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
never what you prepare for, ever. Never.
No,
So
not even close.
we've basically gone this route. Like we'll spend Monday saying, okay, here's what we think they're going to do, right? We think they're going to line up like this. This is what their base defense has been. So we'll review that. And then we'll review, if they're an even front, like we'll review an odd front just to kind of show it. And then Tuesday we'll run against nothing but an odd front, odd front the whole day. Wednesday we'll go against nothing but an even front and be like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Like, and then on Thursday, we mix and match. And by then we've seen a bit of everything. And really, again, it comes back to the offensive line making their calls and understanding what the scheme is. Like the reality is this, man, if you're blocking down on somebody, he's either there or he's not. If he's there, if your job is to block down, if he's there, you block down on the defender. If he's not there, you still take your steps into the gap because a linebacker might blitz. If he doesn't, then you climb to the second level. Like
correct.
As long as these guys understand that stuff and understand, like if I'm pulling to kick somebody, well, if nobody's there, I stay on my track. Like we talk about tracks all the time. Stay on your track, stay on your track, stay on your track, stay on your path. Somebody will show up. So, we prepare against a million different fronts and it really doesn't matter what anybody lines up against as long as your rules are sound. I think that's the most important piece.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Okay. My last question.
Yeah.
And this is because we're boys and I love you, but this is, I have to ask this question. Okay.
Scared me with this one.
Well, I was Googling. No, I gave you a warning on this.
Dude, yes, you did give me the worst haircut I've ever had. Was that the question?
No, we're not talking about the worst haircut. That was really bad. But this is just fun. So I was researching your bio and I saw something that you were voted most attractive coach in the Quad City area. And then I want to know, like, how do you feel? I mean, did you get an award? What was this like? I mean,
I knew this is coming. As soon as you started talking about the bio, I'm like, I know where this cat's going with this. So,
okay, so how does it make you feel, Mike?
Well, I mean, look, the people spoke. What do you want me to say? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding on that one. So that was a unique interview, obviously. And like, I knew something was weird because our kids were being interviewed about like the game that we had coming up on that Friday. And then they'd come back and they'd be like, yeah, you kind of do look like Alex Smith, or like, yeah, you kind of do look like Cliff Kingsbury. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So, I mean, I was confused. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So then obviously the first thing that went through my head when this guy starts asking me about this is like, okay, no matter what you say, you're going to look like an idiot. Like you can either, you know what I mean? Like
you are, whatever, you're either going to be arrogant or whatever. You're going to look, you're going to look bad. I mean,
that's it right there. So and you know me, so I'm trying to like calculate this as he's asking me and be like, you're going to have to pick, man. You're going one way or another. So I picked the non-arrogant way. And I was just like, that's very flattering. Like one of those things. But believe me, like I caught it. And then even still today, like somebody will bring it up, not you necessarily tonight, obviously, but like, it gets brought up. And now I'm just like, yeah, man, like, what do you want me to say? Like they voted, I won. Like, what do you want me to do? Although I don't think they did. I don't think they voted. It was just a thing. somehow got brought up. So I don't know, man. It's
Well,
someday some people will
uh,
stop talking about it. That's kind of
well,
the goal.
I will tell you this: you've always been the pretty boy quarterback in my eyes, and the little
That's
brother I
it.
never
That's it,
had,
brother.
and
That's it.
it's it, it's awesome. You're the dude. Okay, how do I? If I'm a coach and I'm interested in learning your wing tee, okay, how do
Yeah.
I? How do I?
Dude, send me an email. Anybody, anytime. And like my email is M and then MORRISS at Moline Schools. If you send me an email, like I'll give you my my phone number is 563-449-4810. Like if you want to talk football and you need something that you think we have something that could help, I'm all for it, man. I learned from a lot of great people. Like we've been successful, because of people like my dad or people like Butch Gontroff or other, like Ryan Pizzetti's a good friend of mine at Ankeny Centennial. Like I bounce ideas off of him all the time. So it's those things where like people have helped us with things that we've needed or questions that we've had at different places. And, I'm a firm believer that the coaching fraternity gives back. So if I'm ever able to help anybody or they think we can help them, we're very transparent. I'll send you film, I'll send you drills, I'll send you whatever. I'm very open about that. And we have nothing to hide. And if we have something that can help somebody else, I'm all for it. So they can reach out, email, phone number, anytime, man. I'll help out anybody I can.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Again, we appreciate you and appreciate you sharing and all the things. And coaches, remember you can follow us on YouTube or Apple Podcasts. Okay, the link will be in the description. You can also subscribe and please share with your friends. At any time you want to reach me or any coaches on here, again, we're a family. And that's just the way it is. We share anything. There's no secrets here. We're all in it together. So I appreciate you. Again, thanks, Mike. Hug Jessica for me and the girls.
You
And
know I will, brother. You're the best,
I,
PJ. Appreciate you.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right.